The law of calm, mastering emotional control. Your life is leaking. Every time you get angry at a stranger, you lose. Every time you react to a social media comment, you become a slave. Every time you allow chaos to enter your mind, you hand over the keys to your kingdom. Most people are leaves in a storm, blown about by every insult, every traffic jam, and every minor setback. But you are the storm itself. Today, we kill the reactive version of you. We are building a mind that is immovable, a spirit that is untouchable. Neutralize the chaos before it controls your life. This is the law of calm. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Kill the reaction. You are a puppet. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you think you're in control. You think because you have a job, a car, and a bank account, that you are the master of your fate. But you are wrong. Most of you are walking through life with invisible strings attached to your chest, your throat, and your brain. And you've given those strings to everyone you meet. You've given them to your boss. You've given them to your spouse. You've given them to the random person who cuts you off in traffic. You've even given them to a screen full of pixels and strangers on the internet. When they pull the string, you dance. If they insult you, you get angry. If they ignore you, you feel small. If they praise you, you feel high. You are a leaf in a storm, blown about by the moods and opinions of people who don't even know who you are. You are reactive. And as long as you are reactive, you are weak. That stops today. Today, we are going to cut the strings. We are going to learn the most important law of the mind, the law of the gap. Between every event in your life and your response to that event, there is a space. It's a tiny microscopic window. It might only last half a second, but in that half second lies your entire destiny. In that space, you are free. In that space, you are God. Most people don't even know that space exists. They just jump straight from the event to the reaction. Something happens, they explode. Something happens, they cry. No thought, no control, just a biological reflex. But a master knows how to live in that space. A master knows how to stay in the gap. Think about your typical day. You're in a meeting. You've worked hard on a project. You're proud of it. Then, a colleague, maybe someone you don't even like, points a finger. They call your work lazy. They call your ideas unrealistic. They do it in front of the whole team. What happens to your body? You know the feeling. The heat starts at the base of your neck. Your heart begins to hammer against your ribs. Your breath gets shallow. Your ego is screaming. It wants you to defend yourself. It wants you to hit back. It wants you to explain why they are wrong and why you are right. The old you would have spoken immediately. You would have interrupted them. You would have gotten defensive. Your voice would have gone up an octave, shaking with suppressed rage. And in that moment, you would have lost. The second you opened your mouth to defend yourself, you confessed to the entire room that their opinion matters more than your own reality. Reacting is a confession of weakness. That's the key. Read that again. Write it down. Every time you react, you are telling the world, you have power over me. You can dictate how I feel. You are my master. But the new you understands the power of the gap. When that insult hits, you don't flinch. You don't speak. You don't even breathe faster. You observe, don't absorb. You watch the heat in your neck as if it belongs to someone else. You watch the words hang in the air like dead leaves. You don't grab them. You don't pull them into your heart. You let them fall to the floor. And then you do the most powerful thing a human being can do. You remain silent. You sit there. You look them in the eye. You don't look away. You don't blink. You just stare. A cold, neutral, clinical stare. You wait. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. The silence becomes heavy. It becomes uncomfortable for everyone else in the room. Why? Because you aren't playing the game. You've cut the strings. Eventually, the person who insulted you will look away. They will fidget. They will try to fill the silence with an excuse or a secondary comment. They realize they pulled the string and you didn't dance. They realize they have no power. You don't need their permission to be calm. You don't need them to be fair or nice for you to be at peace. You have a choice. You have always had a choice. You just never had the discipline to make it. The world thinks that the person who shouts the loudest is the strongest. The world is wrong. The person who cannot be moved is the strongest. The person who can sit in the middle of a burning building and decide not to be hot is the master. Listen to me. If I can make you mad, I own you. If I can make you doubt yourself with one sentence, I am your king. Is that what you want? Do you want to be a servant to the whims of the world? If the answer is no, then you must start practicing the art of the non-reaction. You must learn to stay in the gap. This isn't about being a nice guy. It's not about taking the high road for the sake of being good. This is about power. This is about total mental dominance over your own biology. Your brain is wired for survival. It wants to fight or flee. It's an old piece of software. It thinks an insult in a meeting is the same as a tiger in the jungle. It's wrong. There is no tiger. There is only noise. You must train yourself to see the noise for what it is. When someone yells at you, it's just air moving through their vocal cords. When someone ignores you, it's just a lack of physical presence. Why would you give your soul to air and shadows? Observe, don't absorb. This takes work. This takes repetitions. You won't get it right the first time. The first time someone triggers you, you might still feel the urge to lash out. That's fine. Feel the urge. Just don't act on it. Stay in the gap. Count to 3. Exhale. Remind yourself, reacting is a confession of weakness. Every time you choose not to react, you are building a muscle. You are callousing your mind. You are telling your ego to sit down and shut up. And as that muscle grows, you will start to feel a strange sense of freedom. You will walk through the world and realize that nothing can touch you unless you give it permission. You will see people screaming at each other in the street and you will feel pity because you can see the strings pulling them. You will see people crying over social media comments and you will see the puppetry. But you will be still. You will be the mountain. The clouds come and go. The wind blows. The lightning strikes. But the mountain stays. You have a choice. You can be the mountain or you can be the leaf. The leaf is easy. The leaf is what everyone else is. The mountain takes discipline. The mountain takes a brutal, uncompromising commitment to self-mastery. Stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to make people understand your side. Stop trying to win arguments. When you try to win an argument with an emotional person, you have already lost because you have entered their chaos. You have allowed their poison into your system. The only way to win is to not play. The only way to win is to remain untouched. From this moment on, your goal is to be the most observant person in the room and the least reactive. Watch everything. Feel nothing. When someone throws a punch, verbally or emotionally, let it pass through you. Don't be there when the blow lands. Stay in the gap. If you can master your reaction, you can master your life. Because life is nothing more than a series of events. If the events don't dictate your internal state, then you are truly free. You don't need their permission to be happy. You don't need the world to be perfect to be powerful. Master the gap and you master the world. But here's the truth. Killing the reaction is only the first step. It's the defensive move. To be truly unstoppable, you have to go deeper. You have to change how you see the world entirely. You have to realize that the insult wasn't actually an insult until you decided it was. That's the key. We've learned how to stop the poison from entering. Now we need to learn that the poison doesn't even exist. We need to understand that the world is not out to get you. The world doesn't care about you. And in that cold, hard truth lies the ultimate peace. Because once you realize that the world is neutral, you realize that you are the one holding the pen. You are the one writing the story. Your power lives in the silence between the event and your response. Every reaction is a loss of sovereignty. Stay in the gap. Let's talk about why nothing in this world has the power to hurt you unless you give it the definitions to do so. Chapter 2. The world is neutral. The world does not care about your feelings. Nature is not out to get you. The universe is not conspiring against you. It is also not conspiring for you. The sun does not rise to give you hope, and the rain does not fall to ruin your wedding. The sun rises because of planetary rotation. The rain falls because of atmospheric pressure. Everything that happens outside of your skin is just physics. It is just matter in motion. It is data. It is indifferent. It is neutral. But that's not how you live, is it? You live in a world of adjectives. You don't see a car accident. You see a terrible tragedy. You don't see a rainy day. You see depressing weather. You don't see an empty bank account. You see a life-ending disaster. You are a storyteller, and most of the stories you tell yourself are lies. You are addicted to the drama. You are addicted to the narrative. You take a neutral event. You wrap it in a layer of emotional poison, and then you wonder why you feel sick. Stop it. Stop being a victim of your own vocabulary. Facts over feelings. That's the key. Most of your suffering is self-inflicted because you refuse to look at the facts. You prefer the story. You prefer the drama. Why? Because the drama makes you feel important. It makes your life feel like a movie where you are the suffering hero. But the hero in your movie is a slave to the script. If you want to be the master of your mind, you must learn to strip away the story. Think about the rain. Most people see rain on a weekend and they get angry. They had plans. They wanted to go to the park. They wanted to go for a run. Now they can't. They call the weather bad. They allow the sky to dictate their mood for the next 8 hours. But is the rain bad? Ask the farmer whose crops were dying. Ask the forest that was burning. To them, the rain is a miracle. To you, it's a nuisance. So which is it? Is it a miracle or a nuisance? The answer is neither. It is just rain. It is H2O falling from the clouds. The bad part didn't come from the sky. The bad part came from your head. You had an expectation, the world didn't meet it, and you decided to suffer. You have a choice. You can see the rain as an obstacle, or you can see it as a fact. If it's a fact, you don't need to be mad at it. You don't get mad at gravity when you drop a glass. You don't get mad at the ocean for being salt water. It just is. It is what it is. This isn't just about the weather. This is about everything. Let's talk about your job. Imagine you walk into the office tomorrow and your boss calls you in. They tell you that the company is restructuring. They tell you that your position has been eliminated. In plain English, you're fired. The old you would crumble. You would feel the floor fall out from under you. You would start thinking about your mortgage. You would start thinking about what your friends will say. You would label this a catastrophe. You would spend the next week in a dark room mourning your life. But look at the facts. Strip away the story. What actually happened? A legal contract between two parties was terminated. A direct deposit that used to hit your account will no longer hit your account. You now have 40 additional hours of free time every week. That's it. Those are the facts. The catastrophe part is a fiction you wrote. You are mourning a story, not a reality. The reality is just a change in your daily schedule. I know that sounds cold. I know it sounds unrealistic. That's because you've been trained to be emotional. You've been trained to think that having feelings about a situation is the same thing as dealing with it. It's not. Crying about a lost job doesn't find you a new one. Getting angry at the unfairness of the world doesn't pay your bills. Facts over feelings. When you look at the world through the lens of neutrality, you become untouchable. If the event is neutral, it cannot hurt you. If the event is just data, it cannot break your heart. You are the one who provides the definition. You don't need their permission to redefine your life. You don't need the world to be fair for you to be functional. You just need to stop lying to yourself about what is happening. Most of what you call problems are just situations. A problem is only a problem because you've decided it shouldn't be happening. You're arguing with reality. And when you argue with reality, you lose 100% of the time. If your car breaks down, it is what it is. The engine has ceased to function. That is a fact. Being upset about it doesn't fix the alternator. It just makes the experience of fixing the alternator more miserable. Why would you choose to be miserable twice? Once because the car is broken, and twice because you're mad about it. That's not a life. That's a prison. Strip away the story. Start practicing this every single day. When someone is late to meet you, don't say, "They are disrespecting my time." Say, "They are not here yet." When you lose money in the market, don't say, "I am a failure." Say, "The numbers in my account have changed." Do you see the difference? The first version is a heavy emotional burden that you have to carry. The second version is just a fact that you have to navigate. One drains your energy, the other leaves your energy intact for the work that needs to be done. You have been told that being passionate and emotional makes you human. I'm telling you that being logical and neutral makes you a master. Passion is for amateurs. Mastery is about clarity. You cannot have clarity if your eyes are blurred by the tears of a story you're making up. You cannot make strategic moves if you are busy being offended by the board. You have a choice. You can live in the real world, the world of facts, or you can live in the dream world, the world of stories. The dream world is where the biological saboteur lives. It wants you to feel fear. It wants you to feel anger. It wants you to stay in the drama so you never have the clarity to escape. But when you adopt the law of neutrality, you kill the saboteur. You look at the disaster and you see an event. You look at the insult and you see noise. It is what it is. Repeat it until it's etched into your brain. When the waiter gets your order wrong, it is what it is. When your flight is delayed, it is what it is. When you get a medical diagnosis you didn't want, it is what it is. Acceptance of the fact is the beginning of power. Resistance to the fact is the beginning of suffering. That's the key. If you can reach a point where you see the world as neutral, you will realize that you are the only one with the power to label your life. And if you have that power, why would you ever choose to label something bad? Why would you ever choose to be a victim? You can decide that every setback is actually a setup. You can decide that every failure is actually a data point. You don't need their permission to see the world this way. It's your mind, it's your kingdom. But being neutral isn't just about how you think, it's about how you act. And most of your acting is actually reacting through your mouth. You think you're in control because you're speaking your truth. You're not. You're just leaking. You've learned to kill the reaction. You've learned to see the world as neutral. Now you need to learn the most powerful tool in the arsenal of the calm mind. You need to learn how to weaponize the void. You need to learn that your words are either building your fortress or tearing it down. The world is indifferent. Events are data. Suffering is a story you write over the facts. Strip away the adjectives and see the world as it truly is. Let's talk about the weight of your words and why. If you want to be unstoppable, you must first learn the power of the silence. Chapter 3. Silence is your shield. Most of you talk too much. You think that by talking you are asserting yourself. You think that by having the last word you are winning. You think that by explaining your side you are being understood. You are wrong. Every time you open your mouth to defend your ego, you are leaking power. You are hemorrhaging authority. You've been told that communication is the key to everything. I'm telling you that silence is the key to everything. Most of what you call communication is just noise. It's a nervous reflex. It's the sound of a person who is afraid of being forgotten. It's the sound of a person who doesn't trust their own worth. If you want to be unstoppable, you must learn to weaponize the void. You must learn that silence is strength. Look at the people around you. Look at the people who are always explaining themselves. Look at the people who have to tell everyone about their plans, their grievances, and their opinions. Are they powerful? No. They are predictable. They are transparent. They are easily manipulated. A master is a mystery. A master doesn't feel the need to fill the air with empty vibrations. When you speak less, every word you do say carries the weight of a sledgehammer. When you speak constantly, your words are like feathers. They blow away in the wind and no one cares where they land. He who speaks less controls more. Think about an argument. Maybe it's with your spouse, a partner, or a close friend. They're upset. They start raising their voice. They say something that cuts deep. They're trying to bait you. They're trying to pull you into the mud with them. The old you would have taken the bait. You would have launched a counterattack. You would have spent 30 minutes arguing about things that happened 3 years ago. You would have shouted until your throat was sore. And what would you have achieved? Nothing. You would both be exhausted, bitter, and further apart than when you started. But the new you understands that you have a choice. When the emotional storm hits, you stop. You close your mouth. You listen. I don't mean you wait for your turn to talk. I mean you actually listen to the noise they are making. You watch the emotion move through them. You see the anger for what it is, a temporary chemical reaction in their brain. And you say nothing. This isn't the silent treatment. This isn't about being petty or passive-aggressive. This is about being a shield. You are letting their emotional energy hit a wall of absolute stillness. You are waiting for the storm to blow itself out. That's the key. Emotion is like fire. It needs oxygen to survive. Your reaction is the oxygen. Your defensive words are the fuel. When you remain silent, you starve the fire. Eventually, they will run out of things to say. They will realize that they are shouting at a mountain. And in that moment, the power dynamic shifts entirely. When you finally do speak, you don't speak from emotion. You speak from logic. You wait for the adrenaline to leave the room before you address the problem. You speak only to improve the silence. If what you are about to say isn't more valuable than the quiet, then don't say it. Don't explain your feelings. Don't justify your actions. Just state the facts. Or better yet, ask a question. Questions control conversations. Statements surrender control. You don't need their permission to be quiet. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your thoughts. You don't owe the world a play-by-play of your internal life. The biological saboteur hates silence. Silence is uncomfortable. Silence forces you to look at yourself. That's why you see people constantly checking their phones, wearing headphones, or keeping the TV on in the background. They are terrified of the void. But the elite thrive in the void. They know that silence is where the work gets done. They know that silence is where the strategy is formed. When you talk about your goals, you get a fake dopamine hit. You feel like you've already achieved them just because people are nodding at you. You're leaking the energy you should be using to do the work. Stop telling people what you're going to do. Stop posting your manifesto on social media. Shut your mouth and execute. Let your results be the only noise you make. Silence is strength. Every time you feel the urge to set the record straight, realize that is your ego talking. Your ego wants to be liked. Your ego wants to be right. Your ego is a child. And if you let a child drive the car, you're going to crash. When someone underestimates you, stay silent. Let them be wrong. When someone gossips about you, stay silent. Their words only have power if you repeat them. When you are suffering, stay silent. Most people don't care, and the rest are glad it's you and not them. Build a fortress of silence around your life. Only let in the people who have earned the right to hear your voice. Most of the people you interact with daily don't deserve your words. They don't deserve to know your mind. He who speaks less controls more. This is especially true in professional settings. In a negotiation, the first person to speak usually loses. Silence is a vacuum. The other person will feel a desperate need to fill it. They will start talking. They will start justifying. They will start revealing their hand. They will lower their price or offer more value just to stop the awkwardness of the quiet. To you, it's not awkward. To you, it's a tool. It's a weapon. You have a choice. You can be the person who leaks energy in every room, or you can be the person who holds the room through presence alone. Presence is built in the silence. Stop complaining. Complaining is the loudest form of weakness. It's a broadcast to the world that you are not in control of your circumstances. If a situation is bad, change it. If you can't change it, endure it in silence. But do not leak your power by whining about it. Speak only to improve the silence. Practice this today. In your next meeting, try to be the last person to speak. Listen to everyone else's ego battle it out. Watch them reveal their insecurities and their biases. By the time you open your mouth, you will have all the data. You will have the upper hand. In your personal life, when someone asks you a prying question, give them a one-word answer or just a look. Watch how uncomfortable they become when they realize you don't need their permission to keep your private life private. Silence is the ultimate boundary. It tells the world, this far and no further. My mind is my own. You have learned to kill the reaction. You have learned to see the world as neutral. Now, you are learning to guard your energy through the shield of silence. You are becoming a person of weight, a person of gravity. But silence is only one part of the armor. To truly master the law of calm, you have to be able to reset your own biology in real time. You can't stay silent if your heart is screaming. You can't stay neutral if your nervous system is on fire. You need a reset button. You need a way to go from red alert back to zero in a matter of seconds. That's the key. We are going to move from the external world of words and silence into the internal world of your own physiology. You are going to learn how to hack your own heart rate. Words are a leak. Silence is an asset. Stop defending your ego and start guarding your energy. Speak less, listen more, and let your results provide the commentary. Let's talk about the biological anchor that will keep you from drifting, no matter how hard the world tries to pull you away. Chapter 4. The 3-second rule. You are a biological machine, and right now, your machine is poorly calibrated. You think your mind is in charge, but your mind is a slave to your nervous system. When you get stressed, when you get angry, when you get overwhelmed, that isn't a thought process. That is a chemical hijack. Your adrenal glands dump poison into your bloodstream. Your heart rate spikes, your pupils dilate, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes you a rational human being, shuts down. In that state, you aren't a man or a woman. You are a frightened animal. And an animal cannot lead. An animal cannot strategize. An animal can only react. If you want to master the law of calm, you have to learn how to hack your own biology. You have to learn how to hit the reset button on your nervous system before you do something you'll regret. You need a tactical override. You need the 3-second rule. Master the pause. That's the key. Most of your problems in life come from the fact that you move too fast. You receive a text and you reply in 1 second. You hear an insult and you snap back in half a second. You see a red number on a screen and you panic instantly. You are moving at the speed of your impulses, and your impulses are stupid. Your impulses are designed for the Stone Age, not the modern world. You need to slow the machine down. You need to create a buffer between the stimulus and the response. Think about that high-stress email. You know the one. You open your laptop and there it is. A client is blaming you for their mistake. A boss is questioning your integrity. A partner is making demands that are unreasonable. What happens? Your chest tightens. Your fingers start itching to hit the reply button. You want to type a manifesto. You want to set them straight. You want to burn the bridge because it feels good in the moment. But you are a master now. And a master knows that the breath is the anchor. Before you touch the keyboard, you stop. You don't look away from the screen, but you don't engage with it either. You count to 3. 1, 2, 3. And as you count, you exhale. A long, slow, controlled exhale. Count to 3 before the ego speaks. In those 3 seconds, something miraculous happens. By forcing your breath to slow down, you are sending a manual signal to your brain. You are telling your amygdala that there is no tiger. You are telling your nervous system that you are safe. You are forcing the prefrontal cortex to come back online. When you finally do start typing, you aren't the animal anymore. You are the strategist. You realize that the manifesto you wanted to write was just your ego screaming for attention. You realize that a 3-sentence factual reply is 100 times more powerful than a 3-page emotional rant. You don't need their permission to take those 3 seconds. You don't owe the world an instant response. The world wants you to be fast because fast people are easy to control. Fast people are predictable, but you are slow, you are deliberate. The breath is the anchor. Why? Because your breath is the only part of your autonomic nervous system that you can control manually. You can't tell your heart to slow down. You can't tell your stomach to stop churning. You can't tell your sweat glands to shut off. But you can control your lungs, and when you control the lungs, the heart must follow. When the heart follows, the chemistry changes. If you can control your breath, you can control your state. If you can control your state, you can control the room. You have a choice. You can be a victim of your adrenaline, or you can be the architect of your composure. I want you to understand the gravity of this. Your heart rate determines your IQ. It's a biological fact. When your heart rate goes above 100 beats per minute, your cognitive ability drops. You literally become stupider. You lose the ability to process complex information. You lose the ability to empathize. You lose the ability to see the long-term consequences of your actions. When you are seeing red, you are functionally brain damaged. Why would you ever make a life-altering decision while you are brain damaged? Why would you speak to your children, your spouse, or your business partners while you are in a state of biological stupidity? Master the pause. The 3-second rule is your insurance policy against regret. It is the wall between you and the version of yourself that ruins your reputation. Practice this in the small moments. When you're at a red light and it turns green, but the person in front of you doesn't move. Don't honk. Don't swear. Count to 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Then, and only then, decide how to proceed. When you're at the gym and the weight feels too heavy and you want to drop it and walk away, stop. The breath is the anchor. Take 3 seconds. Reset your focus. 1, 2, 3, then finish the set. Count to 3 before the ego speaks. The ego is always in a hurry. The ego thinks that if it doesn't react now, it will lose its standing. The ego is insecure, but the soul is patient. The soul knows that the person who can wait 3 seconds is the person who ultimately wins the decade. Most of you are exhausted. You're tired because your nervous system is constantly on. You're living in a state of perpetual yellow alert. Your phone pings, cortisol spike, the news flashes, adrenaline dump, a coworker frowns, heart rate increase. You are wearing your machine out. You are burning the engine. The 3-second rule isn't just a tactical move for meetings. It is a way to preserve your life force. It is a way to tell the world, you do not get to use my energy for your drama. You don't need their permission to be at peace. You don't need the world to slow down for you to be calm. You just need to master the 3 seconds that belong to you. Every time you feel that itch to react, that physical sensation of irritation or panic, that is the signal. That is the alarm bell telling you to hit the reset button. Don't fight the feeling. Don't judge the feeling. Just acknowledge it and start the count. 1, 2, 3. Exhale the chaos. Inhale the clarity. You have a choice. Every single time. You can go with the flow of the adrenaline, or you can stand still and let the adrenaline flow past you. This is the foundation of mental toughness. It isn't about not feeling things. It's about being so centered that the feelings don't dictate the movement of your hands or your tongue. It's about being the eye of the hurricane. The breath is the anchor. If you can do this, you will become a person of immense presence. People will look at you and they won't be able to explain why you seem so powerful. They'll see you in a crisis, and while everyone else is running around like a headless chicken, you'll be standing there, breathing, counting, and seeing the truth. They'll think you're a genius. You aren't. You're just the only person in the room who isn't brain damaged by their own stress. Master the pause. But here's the catch. You can reset your biology all you want, but if your ego is still looking for a fight, you'll find yourself back in the chaos in 5 minutes. You can breathe through an email, but if you still feel the need to prove how smart you are, your silence won't save you. The 3-second rule gives you the space to think. but what you do with that space is what determines your legacy. Most of you are still trying to prove yourselves to people who don't matter. You're still trying to win the approval of a world that is designed to forget you. You're using your calm to become a better performer for the crowd. That's a waste of power. We've learned to kill the reaction. We've learned to see the world as neutral. We've learned to shield ourselves with silence and anchor ourselves with the breath. Now, we need to address the deep, hidden hunger that causes the chaos in the first place. We need to talk about why your need for validation is the greatest leak in your fortress. Your nervous system is a machine that can be hacked. The breath is your manual override. Count to 3, exhale the chemical hijack, and refuse to let your ego dictate your speed. Let's talk about why you need to stop proving and start doing. Chapter 5. Stop proving and start doing. You are an addict. You aren't addicted to a substance. You're addicted to validation. You are addicted to the feeling of being right. You are addicted to the idea that everyone around you needs to understand your intentions, your motives, and your brilliance. And this addiction is making you weak. It is the greatest leak in your mental fortress. Think about how much time you spend in your own head rehearsing arguments. Think about how many hours you've wasted drafting long-form text messages or emails, trying to clarify your position to someone who has already made up their mind to dislike you. Think about the physical toll of trying to convince the world that you are a good person or a hard worker. Stop it. Stop trying to prove yourself. Stop begging for a seat at a table that doesn't belong to you. Never complain, never explain it. That's the key. Most people spend 90% of their lives in a state of explanation. They are constantly trying to justify their existence. They feel an itch, a deep, burning insecurity whenever someone misunderstands them. They think that if they can just find the right words, if they can just explain it one more time, the other person will finally say, "Oh, I see. You're right. I'm sorry." It's never going to happen. And even if it did, so what? You've traded your time, your peace, and your dignity for a moment of agreement from someone who doesn't matter. You don't need their permission to be right. You don't need their approval to be successful. When you try to prove yourself to someone, you are handing them your power. You are telling them, "Your opinion of me is the mirror I use to see myself. If you think I'm a failure, I am a failure until I convince you otherwise." What a pathetic way to live. A master doesn't explain. A master executes. A master knows that execution is the only argument. Imagine this. You're working on a major project. You've put in the hours. You've done the research. Then someone, maybe a boss or a peer, accuses you of being lazy. They say you're missing the mark. They get it completely wrong. The old you would have felt the adrenaline spike. You would have started listing all the hours you worked. You would have shown them your logs. You would have argued until you were blue in the face. But the new you? You stay in the gap. You breathe. You remember the law of calm. You look at them, you nod once, and you walk away. You don't say a word in your defense. You go back to your desk and you work twice as hard. You finish the project with such excellence, such undeniable quality that the results make their accusation look ridiculous. Let results speak for you. When the results are in, you don't need to say, "I told you so." You don't need to gloat. The excellence is the period at the end of the sentence. You have a choice. You can spend your energy talking or you can spend your energy doing. You cannot do both at a high level. Talking is easy. Explaining is a distraction. Doing is the only thing that moves the needle. Most of you are talking because you're afraid to do. You're explaining your vision because you haven't built anything yet. You're defending your potential because you haven't realized it. I'm telling you to shut up. If people think you're a failure, let them. If people think you're wrong, let them. If people think you're the villain in their story, let them. Their narrative is not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to your mission. Execution is the only argument. This applies to your personal life too. Why are you arguing with people on the internet? Why are you trying to win a debate with a stranger who has no impact on your reality? Every time you type a response to a hater, you are telling the world that you are at their level. You are telling the world that your time is worth zero. Never complain, never explain. If you are a lion, you don't spend your time trying to convince the sheep that you are a lion. You don't need the sheep to agree with your status. You don't need the sheep to understand your diet. You just exist as a lion. True power is quiet. True confidence is silent. Only the insecure need to be loud. Only the weak need to be understood. You don't need their permission to be great. Greatness is a private decision that leads to a public result. Every time you feel that urge to defend yourself, I want you to see it as a check engine light for your ego. Your ego is bruised. Your ego is crying. Good. Let it cry. Don't feed it. Don't give it the satisfaction of a response. Let results speak for you. When you stop proving, you start growing. You regain all that leaked energy. You can take that energy and put it into your craft, your body, and your bank account. You become a person of mystery. And mystery is a form of leverage. If people don't know your motives, they can't manipulate you. If they don't know your defense, they can't attack you. You have a choice. You can be a public book that everyone can read and criticize, or you can be a locked vault that only releases value when you decide. Stop being so available. Stop being so explainable. But what if they tell lies about me? Let them. Lies only have power if you provide the correction. If you ignore the lie and keep winning, the lie eventually dies of starvation. But if you fight the lie, you give it oxygen. You make it a topic of discussion. Never complain, never explain. This is a direct command. For the next 7 days, I want you to practice the void. If someone misunderstands you, say nothing. If someone accuses you of something you didn't do, say okay and keep moving. Watch how much power you gain. Watch how frustrated they become when they realize they can't get a rise out of you. You are a professional now, and professionals don't have time for the drama of the uninformed. Execution is the only argument. If your life isn't where you want it to be, it's probably because you've been spending too much time talking about it and not enough time building it. You've been trying to prove you're a winner while you're still sitting in the loser's locker room. Get out of the locker room, get onto the field, and don't say a word until the trophy is in your hands. Even then, let the trophy do the talking. That's the key. We've learned to stop the external leaks, the reactions, the words, the explanations. We've learned to anchor the biology through the breath. You are becoming a person of weight. But a fortress isn't just about stopping leaks. A fortress is about what you build inside. You can be silent and calm on the outside, but if your internal world is still a mess of anxiety and what-ifs, you aren't a master, you're just a good actor. We need to move from the tactical to the structural. We need to talk about the mental walls you build when you're alone. Insecurity begs for understanding. Power demands results. Stop leaking energy into explanations. Every time you defend your ego, you lose your authority. Let your execution be the only evidence you provide. Let's talk about how to build a fortress that doesn't just filter the world, but makes you completely untouchable from within. Chapter 6. Build your inner fortress. Your mind is currently public property. You think you are a private individual, but your internal world is wide open. You have no walls. You have no gates. You have no guards. You are living in a house with no doors, and you're wondering why the wind is blowing your furniture away. You're wondering why there's mud on your carpet and trash in your kitchen. You've been taught to be open-minded. You've been taught to stay informed. You've been taught that being sensitive to the world around you is a virtue. I am telling you that it is a vulnerability. If you let everything in, you will have nothing left of yourself. Most of you are walking through your day like a giant sponge, soaking up every bit of toxic waste that the world throws at you. You soak up the negativity of the morning news. You soak up the stress of your co-workers. You soak up the vanity and envy of social media. By the time you sit down to do your actual work, your mind is heavy, gray, and dripping with garbage. Stop being a sponge. Start being a fortress. Guard the gate. That's the key. You have to realize that your attention is the most valuable currency you own. Every time you allow a stray thought, a useless headline, or a petty grievance to occupy your mind, you are paying for it with your life. You are literally trading minutes of your existence for trash. Your mind is a temple, not a trash can. Repeat that until you feel the shame of how you've been treating yourself. If someone walked into your physical home and started throwing literal rotting food on your floor, you would physically remove them. You would call the police. You would defend your territory. Yet you let people throw mental rot into your brain every 5 minutes through your phone, through your television, and through your ears. You have a choice. You can be the person who accepts every delivery, or you can be the person who checks the ID of every thought before it crosses the threshold. I want you to try a visualization exercise. Imagine you are walking through a grand ancient city. It is crowded. It is loud. There are sirens screaming. There are people shouting. There are thousands of advertisements flashing, begging for your attention. There are people trying to sell you things you don't need, and people trying to make you angry about things you can't change. In the past, this environment would have overwhelmed you. You would have felt the stress in your shoulders. You would have felt your brain frazzling. But today, you are walking inside a glass wall. This wall is 3 inches thick. It is perfectly clear, but it is unbreakable. You can see the chaos. You can hear the muffled sounds of the sirens. You can see the people shouting, but none of it touches you. The vibrations of the world hit the glass and slide off. They don't enter your space. Inside the glass wall, you are in a library. It is cool. It is quiet. The air is still. You are walking at your own pace. You are breathing your own air. You are thinking your own thoughts. Don't invite the storm inside. The storm exists. You can't stop the storm. You can't stop the world from being loud, or people from being stupid, or the news from being terrifying. But you don't have to let the storm into your living room. You can watch the storm from behind the glass. This is what it means to guard the gate. Most of your anxiety isn't actually yours. It's second-hand anxiety. You've caught it from the environment. You've caught it from your screen. You've caught it from a toxic friend who uses you as a dumping ground for their drama. Why are you letting them dump their trash in your temple? You don't need their permission to set a boundary. You don't need to explain why you aren't keeping up with the latest outrage. You don't need to justify why you didn't reply to that stressful group chat. You are busy building your fortress. A fortress isn't just a wall, it's a filter. You decide what gets in. Before you check your phone in the morning, ask yourself, does this serve the mission? If the answer is no, stay behind the glass. Before you engage in a conversation about office gossip, ask yourself, is this trash or is this truth? If it's trash, guard the gate. You've been told that you need to be aware of everything. You don't. You need to be aware of your purpose. Everything else is a distraction designed to keep you small and reactive. The biological saboteur loves the noise. It wants your mind to be cluttered. Why? Because a cluttered mind is a confused mind. A confused mind is a mind that can't execute. If the saboteur can keep you focused on a celebrity scandal or a political fight 3,000 miles away, it doesn't have to worry about you actually improving your own life. Your mind is a temple, not a trash can. The Stoics called this the inner citadel. They believed that no matter what happened to your body, no matter if you were in prison or in poverty or in pain, your mind could remain a sovereign territory. They knew that the world could take your money, your health, and your reputation, but it could never take your inner citadel unless you handed over the keys. You've been handing over the keys for years. You've been handing them to every person who made you mad. You've been handing them to every app on your phone. Stop it. Take the keys back. Guard the gate. When you build your inner fortress, you become a different kind of human being. You walk differently, you talk differently. There is a weight to your presence because people can sense that you are not available to be messed with. They can sense the glass wall. They realize that their petty insults and their frantic energy don't reach you. Eventually, they stop trying. The drama seekers will find an easier target. The energy vampires will move on to someone who is still a sponge, and you will be left with something you haven't felt in a long time: clarity. You have a choice. You can live in the chaos or you can build the fortress. The chaos is free. The fortress costs discipline. It costs the fear of missing out. It costs the need to be liked. But the price is worth it, because once you are behind the wall, you are finally free to do the deep work. You are finally free to become the person you were meant to be. Every time you feel your peace being threatened, I want you to literally visualize the glass wall. See it shimmering in front of you. Hear the sound of the world's noise bouncing off the surface. Observe, don't absorb. Don't invite the storm inside. This is your new standard. If it doesn't nourish you, if it doesn't challenge you, and if it doesn't help you execute, it stays outside the wall. No exceptions. No, just this once. You are a professional now. You are a sovereign. Your mind is the most valuable real estate on the planet. Start acting like the landlord. Guard the gate. But building the fortress is only half the battle. You can have the strongest walls in the world, but if there is a traitor inside, the fortress will still fall. And that traitor has a name: desire. You can be calm and silent, but if your heart is still hungry for things you don't have, if you are still chasing after status and money and pleasure as if they were the air you breathe, then you are still a slave. The world doesn't need to break your walls if it can pull you out of the gate with a carrot on a stick. That's the key. We've learned to protect the mind from the outside noise. Now, we have to protect the mind from its own internal hunger. We have to talk about why your wants are actually leaks. Your attention is your life force. Stop letting the world dump its trash in your temple. Build a mental filter that stops the noise and only lets in the truth. Guard the gate at all costs. Let's talk about why detachment is the ultimate form of power and why, if you want to be unstoppable, you must first learn to desire less. Chapter 7. Desire is a leak. You think your ambition is a virtue. You've been told that wanting it more than the next guy is the secret to success. You've been told that hunger is your greatest asset. You've been told that your desires are the fuel for your engine. I am telling you that your desires are a leak in your tank. Every time you need something, a specific outcome, a certain amount of money, a particular person's affection, a title on your office door, you are creating a hook that the world can use to pull you. You are creating a vulnerability. You are handing over your peace to a future that hasn't happened yet. Most of you are walking through life in a state of constant, low-level desperation. You are desperate for the deal to close. You are desperate for the promotion to happen. You are desperate for the market to go up. You are desperate for your partner to tell you they love you. And that desperation smells. It has a scent. It's the scent of a victim. If you want to be truly powerful, if you want to be a master of the law of calm, you must learn the art of detachment. You must learn that needs create chains. When you need something to happen in order to feel okay, you are a slave to that thing. You are a slave to the boss who holds the promotion. You are a slave to the client who holds the contract. You are a slave to the person who holds your heart. You have given them the power to destroy your day with a single no. Stop being a slave, break the chains, desire less, control more. That's the key. This isn't about being lazy. It's not about having no goals. It's about the quality of your relationship with those goals. A master has a mission, but a master has no needs. You work toward the goal with everything you have, but you don't let your internal state depend on the result. If the deal happens, fine. If the deal falls through, fine. You are the same person either way. Your fortress is still standing. Your breath is still calm. Your silence is still heavy. You have a choice. You can be the person who is crushed by a no, or you can be the person who is indifferent to it. Indifference is the ultimate form of power. Think about a negotiation. This is where the law of calm becomes a weapon. Imagine you are sitting across from a person who has something you want. It could be a new job, a piece of real estate, or a business partnership. The old you would enter that room thinking about how much you need this. You'd be thinking about the bills you have to pay. You'd be thinking about how much your ego wants this win. What happens? You become fast. Your voice gets higher. You talk too much. You start making concessions before they even ask. You're leaking energy everywhere. The other person can see the hunger in your eyes. They can feel your desperation. And because they can feel it, they own you. They squeeze you. They take more than they give because they know you won't leave. But the new you enter that room with the spirit of the void. You've done the work, you've prepared the data, but you have already decided that you don't need the deal. You have already decided that your life is complete without it. You sit there in silence. You speak less. You watch the facts. You stay in the gap. When they make a demand that doesn't fit your mission, you don't get angry. You don't get defensive. You don't explain. You just say no. And then you stop talking. You wait. You are perfectly comfortable with the possibility of walking out of that room with nothing. Be ready to walk away. That is the most dangerous position a human being can hold. The person who is truly willing to walk away is the person who holds all the leverage. You cannot be intimidated if you don't fear the loss. You cannot be manipulated if you don't desire the gain. Needs create chains. Every time you say, I have to have this, you are forging a new link in your own cage. You are telling the biological saboteur, here is a button you can press to make me feel pain. Stop giving the world buttons to press. I want you to audit your desires right now. What are you chasing? Whose approval are you starving for? What outcome are you terrified won't happen? Identify it, look at it, and then I want you to mentally kill it. Imagine the worst case scenario. Imagine the deal falls through. Imagine they say they don't love you. Imagine you lose the money. Are you still breathing? Yes. Are you still the master of your mind? Yes. If you can accept the loss before it happens, you are invincible. You have neutralized the threat. Desire less, control more. This is the secret of the elite. They appear cold or detached because they refuse to let their soul be a hostage to fortune. They know that life is a game of probability, not a game of certainty. They play the odds, they execute the strategy, but they don't cry when the dice roll the wrong way. Most of you are leaking all day because you are constantly wanting the next thing. You're eating lunch, but you're desiring the end of the workday. You're at work, but you're desiring the weekend. You're single, but you're desiring a relationship. You are never here, you are always wanting somewhere else. And because you are never here, you have no presence. Because you have no presence, you have no power. You don't need their permission to be satisfied with right now. You don't need the future to arrive to be a master. Ambition is working for the future. Desire is suffering for the future. Learn the difference. A disciplined man works as if he wants everything, but lives as if he needs nothing. He is aggressive in his execution, but indifferent in his attachment. He is a warrior of the process, not a victim of the result. That's the key. When you stop needing, you stop fearing. When you stop fearing, you become unstoppable. The biological saboteur uses your desires as bait. It tells you, if you just get that car, you'll be happy. If you just get that person to like you, you'll be validated. It's a lie. It's a carrot on a stick. Every time you reach the carrot, the saboteur just moves the stick further away. Stop chasing the carrot. Stand still. Realize that the stick only has power because you are moving toward it. Be ready to walk away. Walk away from the need to be understood. Walk away from the need to be liked. Walk away from the need to win in the eyes of the crowd. When you do this, your law of calm becomes deep. It becomes a tectonic force. You are no longer a person who can be bought by a compliment or sold by a threat. You are a sovereign. Desire less, control more. But let's be real. Detachment is easy when life is going well. It's easy to say, I don't need anything, when you have food in your belly and money in the bank. The real test of your fortress, the real test of your silence and your breath, comes when the world actually hits you. It's one thing to be calm in a negotiation. It's another thing to be calm when your world is actually on fire. Most of you think that peace means the absence of conflict. It doesn't. Peace is the ability to maintain your order during the conflict. You've learned to stop the leaks of reaction and desire. Now you need to learn how to use the hits themselves as fuel. You need to move from the fortress to the battlefield. Every need is a vulnerability. The more you desire, the more the world can manipulate you. Detach from the outcome to master the process. The person most willing to walk away is the person who truly leads. Let's talk about why adversity isn't an obstacle to your calm. It is the very gym where your calm is built. Chapter 8. Adversity is your gym. You are praying for the wrong things. You're praying for an easy life. You're praying for the traffic to be light, for your boss to be kind, for your bills to be low, and for the world to leave you alone. You think that if the world just stopped pushing against you, you would finally be happy. You think that comfort is the goal. You are wrong. Comfort is the graveyard of the soul. When you avoid stress, you become fragile. When you run from conflict, you become weak. You are like a man who wants big muscles but is terrified of the weight room. You want the result without the resistance. It doesn't work that way. In the physical world, muscle is only built through the tearing of fibers under tension. In the mental world, calm is only built through the pressure of chaos. Stop looking for the exit. Start looking for the heavy iron. The obstacle is the way. That's the key. Most people see a problem and they see an interruption to their life. A master sees a problem and sees the equipment. Every difficult person, every delayed flight, every broken promise, and every financial setback is a rep for your mind. It is a chance to practice the law of calm under real-world conditions. It's easy to be a Zen master on a mountaintop. It's easy to be calm when you're sitting in a quiet room with a cup of tea. That's not mastery. That's just a lack of stimulus. True mastery is being the eye of the storm when the world is screaming in your face. Thank the chaos for the training. Think about the most common adversity in the modern world: traffic. You're late for a meeting. You're stressed. You turn the corner and you see a wall of red brake lights. The old you would have felt the chemical hijack immediately. You'd be gripping the steering wheel until your knuckles turned white. You'd be swearing at people who can't hear you. You'd be looking at the clock every 10 seconds, feeding your own panic. You are letting a piece of asphalt and some pieces of metal control your internal chemistry. You are being a victim. But the new you see the brake lights and you smile. You breathe. You stay in the gap. You say to yourself, this is it. This is the gym. Life just handed me a 50-pound dumbbell of frustration. Let's see if I can lift it. Instead of fighting the reality, you embrace it. You use those 20 minutes to practice your 3-second rule. You use them to practice your silence. You use them to realize that the traffic is neutral. It's not bad, it just is. Lift the weight of the moment. If you can stay perfectly calm in gridlock, you have just earned a mental rep. You have just calloused your mind, and that callous will stay with you when the real challenges hit. If you can handle the traffic, you can handle the difficult client. If you can handle the difficult client, you can handle the crisis. The obstacle is the way. Stop wishing for a lighter load. Start wishing for a stronger back. You don't need their permission to be at peace while things are going wrong. Most people are conditional humans. They are only good if the conditions are good. They are only kind if people are kind to them. They are only focused if the environment is quiet. That is a low-level existence. You are a professional. A professional performs regardless of the conditions. A professional understands that the worse the conditions, the higher the value of the performance. When everything is falling apart, that is your time to shine. That is when your law of calm becomes a superpower. While everyone else is panicking, while everyone else is pointing fingers and crying about unfairness, you are standing there breathing, observing, and executing. Thank the chaos for the training. Look at the people in your life who annoy you the most. That difficult neighbor, that toxic relative, that arrogant co-worker. Stop seeing them as enemies. Start seeing them as personal trainers for your soul. They are providing the resistance you need to grow. Every time they try to bait you and you refuse to react, you win. Every time they try to make you angry and you remain neutral, you get stronger. They think they are bothering you. They don't realize they are helping you become unstoppable. The obstacle is the way. Most of you are comfort addicts. You spend your money to avoid discomfort. You buy the faster car, the softer bed, the climate-controlled house. You've created a life where you almost never have to be cold or hungry or tired or bored. And because you've eliminated the discomfort, you've eliminated your edge. You've become soft. You've become a person who can be ruined by a slow internet connection or a cold meal. I'm telling you to seek the friction. You have a choice. You can be a hothouse flower that dies if the temperature changes by 2 degrees, or you can be a weed that grows through the cracks in the concrete. Lift the weight of the moment. When life gets hard, don't ask why me. Ask what is this teaching me? If you lose money, it's teaching you detachment. If you are betrayed, it's teaching you sovereignty. If you are exhausted, it's teaching you endurance. There is no such thing as a waste of time if you are using the time to train your mind. Thank the chaos for the training. The biological saboteur wants you to fear adversity. It wants you to stay in the safe zone. But the safe zone is where potential goes to die. The saboteur tells you that a problem is a sign that something is wrong. I'm telling you that a problem is a sign that you are in the game. Dead people have no problems. If you have problems, you are alive. If you have big problems, you are playing a big game. The obstacle is the way. I want you to change your vocabulary starting now. From this moment on, you don't have problems, you have training sessions, you don't have stress, you have weight, you don't have enemies, you have trainers. When someone yells at you today, I want you to mentally say, thank you for the rep. When you hit a delay, say, thank you for the patience drill. Lift the weight of the moment. This is how you become immovable. You become a person who cannot be threatened by hard times because you've learned to love the hard times for the strength they provide. You are a mental alchemist. You turn leaden circumstances into golden character. You don't need their permission to thrive in the dark. You don't need the sun to shine to be the master of your fate. But remember, you can't just wait for life to hit you. If you only train when life forces you to, you'll always be playing catch-up. To be truly unstoppable, you must be the one who initiates the discipline. You must be the one who sets the tone before the world has a chance to wake up. That's the key. A warrior doesn't just wait for the war. He trains in the morning so the war is easy. He builds his order in the quiet hours so the chaos of the day doesn't stand a chance. We've learned to use adversity as a gym. Now, we need to talk about how to prepare for the gym before you even leave your house. We need to talk about the first hour of your day and why it is the most important battle you will ever fight. Adversity is not an interruption. It is the equipment. Every struggle is a chance to build the muscle of calm. Stop running from the weight and start thanking the chaos for the strength it gives you. Let's talk about why you must master your morning if you ever want to master your life. Chapter 9. Master your morning. The war begins at the moment of impact. The moment your eyes open, the biological saboteur is already in the room. It's sitting on your chest. It's whispering in your ear. It's telling you that the bed is warm and the world is cold. It's telling you that 5 more minutes won't hurt. It's telling you that you're tired, that you deserve a break, that you can start your discipline tomorrow. Most people lose the war in the first 5 seconds of the day. They hit the snooze button. They negotiate with their own weakness. They take the very first opportunity to tell their subconscious mind, I am not the person in charge. My comfort is my master. If you want to master the law of calm, you have to win the first battle. You have to realize that the morning is the blueprint for the rest of your life. Win the morning, win the day. That's the key. If you start your day in a state of reaction, reacting to your alarm, reacting to your phone, reacting to the stress of being late, then you have already lost your sovereignty. You have surrendered your inner citadel before you've even put on your shoes. You are entering the world as a victim of time rather than a master of it. Small wins, big calm. Every morning is a series of binary choices. You either do the hard thing or you do the easy thing. There is no middle ground. When the alarm goes off, you have a choice. You can get up immediately or you can linger in the fog. Getting up is a win. It is a rep for your will. It is a signal to your biology that the strategist has taken the wheel. You don't need their permission to own the first hour of your life. You don't need the world to be quiet for you to be disciplined. You just need to stop negotiating with the version of yourself that wants to fail. Think about your current routine. Most of you reach for your phone before you've even breathed. You open the gates of your fortress and let the entire world rush in. You check your emails, someone else's agenda. You check social media, someone else's highlight reel. You check the news, someone else's chaos. You are inviting the storm into your bed. You are starting your day by absorbing rather than observing. You are training your brain to be reactive, scattered, and anxious from the very first minute. Order in the room, order in the mind. I want you to change the script. From this moment on, the first hour of your day is sacred. It is the time where you build the walls of your fortress. It is the time where you practice your silence and your breath. Step 1. Make your bed. I know it sounds trivial. I know you think you have bigger problems. You're wrong. If you can't maintain order in a few square feet of fabric, how can you expect to maintain order in a multi-million-dollar business or a complex relationship? Making your bed is the first act of external order. It is a completion. It is a statement that you are a person of discipline even when no one is watching. Small wins, big calm. Step 2. The ritual of friction. Most of you are terrified of the cold. You spend your whole life seeking the perfect temperature. You want the shower to be a warm, steaming womb where you can hide from the world. I want you to turn the handle to the cold, all the way. This isn't about health benefits. This isn't about circulation or skin. This is about the kill the reaction drill. When that cold water hits your skin, your body is going to panic. Your heart rate is going to spike. You're going to want to jump out. You're going to want to gasp. The breath is the anchor. Stand there. Count to 3. Exhale. Control your response to the shock. This is your gym. You are teaching your nervous system that you decide when to panic, not the environment. If you can stay calm under a freezing stream of water, you can stay calm when a client yells at you. You are callousing the mind before the sun is even up. Win the morning, win the day. Step 3. Silence and strategy. Do not turn on the TV. Do not listen to a podcast. Do not talk to anyone. Sit in the silence. Look at the day ahead of you, not with anxiety, but with the cold eye of a general. Identify the threats. Identify the training sessions that are coming. Decide right now how you will respond to the chaos. Stay in the gap. If you know you have a difficult meeting at 2 p.m., visualize it now. See the person being difficult. Feel the heat in your neck. And then, in your mind, practice staying silent. Practice the 3-second rule. Pre-program your response so that when the event happens, it's already old news. You've already won the battle in the quiet of your living room. You have a choice. You can be the person who is surprised by life, or you can be the person who has already rehearsed it. Most of you are exhausted by noon because you've spent the whole morning reacting to every fire that pops up. You're playing defense. But when you master your morning, you are on the offense. You have established your baseline of calm. You have secured your fortress. Order in the room, order in the mind. If the morning is chaotic, the day will be chaotic. If the morning is disciplined, the day will be a masterpiece. You don't need their permission to wake up an hour earlier. You don't need their approval to have a routine that makes them feel uncomfortable. People will tell you that you're too intense. They'll tell you to relax. They'll tell you that life is too short to be this disciplined. They are the leaves in the storm. They are the ones who are controlled by their impulses. They are the ones who will be stressed, tired, and reactive for the next 40 years. Don't listen to the leaves, listen to the mountain. Small wins, big calm. Winning the morning isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. You are becoming a person who keeps promises to themselves. You are becoming a person who values the mission over the mood. Win the morning, win the day. Repeat it, live it. If you stumble, if you sleep in, if you check your phone, don't write off the day. Just reset, hit the 3-second rule, and get back to the order. But understand that every time you win the morning, you are making it harder for the world to break you in the afternoon. You are building momentum, and momentum is the ultimate force of nature. A train moving at 80 miles per hour can smash through a concrete wall. A train that is sitting still can be stopped by a single wooden block under the wheel. The morning is how you get the train moving. That's the key. But even with a perfect morning, you will still face moments where your feelings try to take the wheel. You'll have a great routine, but by 3 p.m. you'll be tired, you'll be hungry, you'll feel unmotivated, you'll feel like the law of calm is too much work. The biological saboteur never stops trying to find a way back in. It will wait for you to be tired, and then it will strike through your emotions. We've learned to build the external and internal order. Now we need to learn the hierarchy of the mind. We need to talk about why your feelings are the least reliable data points in your life. The first hour is the blueprint. Win the battle against comfort to win the battle against the world. Use morning rituals to establish a baseline of order that the day cannot easily disrupt. Win the morning, win the day. Next, let's talk about the cold, hard reality of logic and why it must always sit on the throne above your emotions. Chapter 10. Logic over feeling. Your feelings are liars. I know that goes against everything you've been told. You live in a world that worships authenticity. You live in a world that tells you to follow your heart and trust your gut. You've been told that your emotions are a sacred compass that points toward your truth. I am telling you that your emotions are a faulty GPS that is currently leading you into a swamp. Feelings are not facts. Feelings are just chemical weather. They are the residue of your biology reacting to the environment. They are data points, yes, but they are not directives. Most of the time, your feelings are nothing more than the biological saboteur trying to trick you back into the cave of comfort. If you want to be unstoppable, you must establish a new hierarchy in your mind. You must realize that logic is the king and feelings are merely guests. Feelings are guests, not residents. That's the key. Imagine your mind is a house. In the past, you've let your feelings move in. You've given them the keys to the master bedroom. You've let them sit at the head of the table. If anxiety showed up, you let it dictate the schedule. If lethargy showed up, you let it cancel your plans. If anger showed up, you let it speak for you. You've been living in a house run by a rotating group of unstable emotional squatters. A master does not live this way. A master understands that logic is the law. Logic is the permanent structure of the house. Feelings are just people passing through. You acknowledge them. You say, I see you boredom. I hear you fear. I feel you fatigue. And then you ask the only question that matters. Is this useful? That is the ultimate filter. Not is this true, not is this how I feel, but is this useful? Think about your work. You wake up on a Tuesday morning. You've done your morning ritual. You're at your desk. You have a difficult task in front of you, something that requires deep focus, something that challenges your skills. Suddenly you feel it, a wave of resistance, a feeling of being tired. You start thinking, I'm just not feeling it today. I'm burnt out. I need a break. I'll be more productive if I wait until tomorrow. The old you would have listened. You would have validated that feeling. You would have called it self-care. You would have walked away from the work. But the new you look at that feeling of fatigue. You observe it. You don't absorb it. You ask, is this useful? Does feeling tired help me finish this project? No. Does acknowledging this fatigue move me closer to my mission? No. Then you apply the law. Logic is the law. Logic says, the work needs to be done. Logic says, the deadline is real. Logic says, doing the work while tired is the only way to build the capacity to do more. So you do the work, not because you feel like it, but because logic demands it. You have a choice. You can be a slave to your moods, or you can be a servant to your mission. Your moods are fickle. They change with the wind. If you only work when you feel like it, you will never achieve anything of substance. The world is full of talented people who weren't feeling it and ended up at the bottom of the mountain. Logic is the law. Most of you are using your feelings as an excuse to be mediocre. You say you're overwhelmed. What does that even mean? Overwhelmed isn't a fact, it's a feeling. The facts are, you have 5 tasks, you have 8 hours, you have a brain. The feeling is the noise. The facts are the signal. Is this useful? Is feeling overwhelmed helping you complete task number 1? No, it's actually slowing you down. It's a leak. It's a distraction. So, you hit the 3-second rule. You reset the biology. You look at the logic. Logic says, pick up the pen, start the first line. Feelings are guests, not residents. I want you to understand that you don't have to get rid of your feelings to be calm. You just have to stop letting them vote. You can feel afraid and still walk into the meeting. You can feel angry and still stay silent. You can feel exhausted and still hit the gym. This is what it means to be unstoppable. It's the ability to act in spite of your emotions. The biological saboteur uses your feelings as a cage. It tells you that you can't act until the feeling goes away. I'll start the business when I feel confident. I'll have the hard conversation when I feel ready. Confidence isn't a feeling you get before you start. Confidence is a result you get after you've done the work 1,000 times. Ready is a lie. You will never feel ready to do something that scares you. Logic is the law. Logic says, the only way to get the result is to start. Logic says, confidence is built through repetition. You don't need their permission to ignore your own emotions. You don't need the world to validate your struggle. Your struggle is just data. Start practicing this audit every hour. When you feel a spike of emotion, pause. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Ask the question, is this useful? If you're angry at someone, is this anger useful? Does it solve the problem? No. It makes you reactive. It makes you leak energy. So, you let the feeling stay in the guest room, but you don't let it speak. You speak through logic. If you are afraid of failing, is this fear useful? Does it make you more prepared? If yes, use it to check your data. If no, if it's just paralyzing you, then it's trash. Guard the gate. Logic is cold. Logic is clinical. Logic doesn't have a story. That's why the world hates it. The world wants you to be emotional because emotional people buy things. Emotional people vote for things. Emotional people are easy to manipulate. But a person of logic is a nightmare for the manipulators. You can't be bought with a compliment because you know it's just air. You can't be sold with a threat because you've already accepted the worst case scenario. Logic is the law. You have been told that being stoic means having no feelings. That is a lie. Being stoic means having a high-functioning relationship with your feelings. It means being the adult in the room when your inner child is throwing a tantrum. Your inner child wants the cookie. Your inner child wants to sleep in. Your inner child wants to scream back. The master looks at the child and says, I hear you, but logic says no. You have a choice. You can be the child or you can be the master. The child has a colorful life full of drama and regret. The master has a masterful life full of order and results. Is this useful? This is the standard for the law of calm. We don't strive for an empty mind. We strive for an orderly mind. A mind where logic sits on the throne and emotions are kept in their place. Feelings are guests, not residents. When you master the hierarchy of logic over feeling, you become incredibly efficient. You stop wasting time on processing emotions that don't matter. You stop waiting for the perfect mood to arrive. You just execute. You become a person who can be trusted. Why? Because you aren't a victim of your own chemistry. People know that you will show up, that you will perform, and that you will stay calm regardless of how you feel on any given morning. Logic is the law. But logic isn't just about how you work. It's about how you interact with the most toxic force in the world, other people. You can have all the logic in the world, but if you don't know how to navigate the emotional chaos of others, they will still find a way to drag you down. You've learned to master your own internal hierarchy. Now, you need to learn how to deal with the people who haven't. You need to learn how to walk through a world of emotional toddlers without getting mud on your suit. That's the key. We've learned to put logic on the throne. Now we need to apply that logic to your social environment. We need to talk about why the high road isn't a moral choice, it's a tactical one. Feelings are data, not directives. Stop asking how you feel and start asking if the feeling is useful to the mission. Establish logic as the supreme law of your mind and treat your emotions as guests who don't get a vote. Let's talk about why you must refuse to sink and why the high road has no traffic. Chapter 11. The high road has no traffic. People are messy. They are small, they are petty, and they are drowning in their own emotional chaos. And because they are drowning, they are looking for something to grab onto. They want to pull you under. They want to see you lose your composure. They want to see you get angry, get defensive, and get dirty. Why? Because if they can drag you down into the mud, they don't have to feel so bad about being covered in it themselves. If they can make the calm master scream, then they've proven that your discipline is a lie. They've proven that you're just like them. Most of the world is living in a gutter of drama. They are fighting over scraps of ego. They are arguing about who said what, who looked at whom, and who is right in a situation that won't matter in 3 weeks. If you want to be unstoppable, you must refuse to sink. You must understand that the high road isn't a moral choice. It's a tactical one. Don't wrestle with pigs. That's the key. There is an old saying, never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, but the pig likes it. When you engage with a toxic, manipulative, or emotional person on their level, you have already lost. It doesn't matter if you have the better argument. It doesn't matter if you are right. The moment you jump into the mud to fight them, you are no longer the master of the law of calm. You are just another pig in the pen. You have lost your status. You have lost your gravity. You have lost your fortress. Maintain your dignity. Your dignity is your armor. It is the boundary that keeps the world's filth off your skin. Most people trade their dignity for the satisfaction of a clever comeback. They trade their peace for the chance to put someone in their place. Was it worth it? You won the argument, but now your heart is racing, your adrenaline is spiking, and you've spent 2 hours of your life thinking about a person you don't even respect. You've let them occupy your inner citadel for free. You have a choice. You can be the person who reacts to every bait, or you can be the person who is simply too big to be bothered. Be the adult in the room. I want you to think about a specific person. We all have one. That manipulative family member, that passive-aggressive coworker, that friend who always tries to start drama. Think about how they operate. They know your buttons. They know exactly what to say to make you feel guilty or angry or defensive. They are masters of the microaggression. They throw a little bit of poison and then they wait for you to explode so they can play the victim. The old you would have bitten the bait every time. You would have explained yourself. You would have tried to make them understand. You would have gotten loud. But the new you apply the law of silence. You apply the law of neutrality. When they throw the poison, you stay in the gap. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. You look at them. You don't get mad. You don't get sad. You simply remain brief, polite, and detached. Maintain your dignity. If they ask a loaded question, give a one-word answer. If they make an insulting comment, nod and say, I hear you. And then, this is the most important part, you go back to what you were doing. You do not invite them in. You don't give them a seat at the table of your mind. You don't need their permission to end the conversation. You don't need them to agree that the conversation is over. You just stop participating. People think the high road is crowded with nice people being walked on. They are wrong. The high road is actually empty. That's why there's no traffic. Most people are too busy fighting in the gutter to ever make it up here. When you stay on the high road, you move faster. Why? Because you aren't carrying the weight of other people's drama. You aren't distracted by petty grievances. You aren't leaking energy into meaningless conflicts. Don't wrestle with pigs. Listen to me. Your time is a finite resource. Your emotional energy is a finite resource. Why would you spend those resources on someone who isn't contributing to your mission? If a pig wants to scream in the mud, let it scream. But don't you dare get in there with it. Stay clean. Stay focused. Stay on the move. Maintain your dignity. This is especially hard when it's someone close to you, when it's a parent or a sibling or a spouse. You feel like you have to engage. You feel like you owe them an emotional reaction. You don't. In fact, the most loving thing you can do for an emotional person is to remain calm. If you join them in their chaos, you are just feeding the fire. But if you remain the adult in the room, you provide a boundary. You provide a mirror that shows them their own behavior. Be the adult in the room. If they want to be irrational, let them. If they want to be toxic, let them. But you stay behind your glass wall. You observe, don't absorb. But it's so hard, you say. They know exactly how to get to me. Of course it's hard. That's why most people don't do it. That's why most people are miserable, reactive, and tired. If you want what most people have, do what most people do. But if you want to be unstoppable, you must have the discipline to be cold when the world wants you to be hot. You have a choice. Every time someone tries to drag you down, you have a choice. You can say, I am going to join you in the gutter. Or you can say, I am staying on the mountain. Don't wrestle with pigs. This applies to the internet. This applies to your haters. This applies to the people who gossip about you behind your back. Let them talk. Let them lie. Let them scream. Your response is your work. Your response is your silence. Your response is your absolute refusal to acknowledge their existence if they aren't useful to the mission. That's the key. A person of weight doesn't flinch when a fly lands on them. They don't have a hard conversation with the fly. They don't try to understand the fly's perspective. They just keep moving. You are the person of weight. The toxic people in your life are the flies. Maintain your dignity. When you choose the high road, you are making a statement to yourself. You are telling your subconscious, my peace is more valuable than my ego. My mission is more important than my pride. And as you stay on the high road, you'll notice something. You'll notice that you are gaining a massive amount of time. You'll notice that your mind is clearer. You'll notice that your 3-second rule is becoming easier to apply. Why? Because you've stopped the biggest leak of all, the social leak. Be the adult in the room. You don't need to fix people. You don't need to save people from their own emotions. You just need to save yourself from being their target. You don't need their permission to be boring to them. If you don't give them a reaction, they will eventually go find someone else who will. Be the most boring person in the world for a drama seeker to talk to. Be a gray stone. The gray stone doesn't react. The gray stone doesn't defend. The gray stone just exists. Don't wrestle with pigs. If you can master this, you can walk through any fire. You can lead any team. You can navigate any family crisis. Because you are the one who provides the stability. You are the one who refuses to sink. Maintain your dignity. But here is the final truth. Most of the reason you want to jump into the mud isn't because of the other person. It's because of you. It's because your own ego is demanding to be heard. Your ego wants to be the winner. Your ego wants to teach them a lesson. Even if you stay on the high road, if you're still fuming inside because you let them get away with it, then the pig still won. The mud is still on your soul. To truly be immovable, we have to address the traitor that lives inside your own chest. We have to talk about why your ego is the true source of all your anger. That's the key. We've learned to stay on the high road. Now we need to dismantle the ego that makes the low road look so tempting. We need to talk about why you must neutralize the ego if you ever want to be free. Tactical detachment is your greatest social weapon. Refuse to engage with toxic drama. Stay clean, stay calm, and stay on the high road. It's the only path that leads to the top. Be the adult. Maintain your dignity and never wrestle with pigs. Let's talk about the final exorcism. Let's talk about why you must be nobody to be truly powerful. Chapter 12. Neutralize the ego. You are not that important. I know that hurts. I know your ego is flinching right now. Your ego has spent your entire life telling you that you are the center of the universe. It has convinced you that every look, every whisper, every slight, and every social media post is a direct commentary on your worth. It has made you the protagonist of a movie that nobody else is watching. And because you think you are so important, you are incredibly easy to break. Because you have a giant bloated ego. You have a giant bloated target on your chest. You are walking around with a kick me sign that you tape to your own back, and you're wondering why you're constantly feeling bruised. If you want to master the law of calm, you have to perform the final exorcism. You have to perform a surgical strike on your own pride. You have to kill the ego. Most of your anger isn't actually about the unfairness of the world. It's about your ego being poked. When someone cuts you off in traffic, your ego screams, "How dare they do that to me? Don't they know who I am?" When someone doesn't reply to your text, your ego says, "They are disrespecting me." When you don't get the credit you think you deserve, your ego cries, "I am being overlooked." Listen to me. It is almost never about you. It's not about you. The person who cut you off didn't do it because of your identity. They did it because they are in a rush, or they're distracted, or they're just a bad driver. They don't even know you exist. The person who didn't text you back is dealing with their own chaos, their own fears, and their own disorganized life. Their silence is a reflection of them, not a rejection of you. But your ego can't handle that truth. Your ego would rather be hated than ignored. It would rather be a victim than be irrelevant. So it creates a story where you are the target. And the second you believe that story, you lose your calm. You leak energy into a shadow fight with a ghost. Be nobody to be free. That's the key. When you are somebody, you have a reputation to protect. You have a status to maintain. You have a brand to defend. You are heavy. You are rigid. And because you are rigid, you are easy to snap. But when you are nobody, when you have neutralized the ego, you are like water. You are like the wind. An arrow cannot hit the wind. A sword cannot cut the water. When someone hurls an insult at nobody, there is nowhere for the insult to land. It passes right through the space where your ego used to be and hits the wall behind you. You have a choice. You can be the heavy, fragile somebody, or you can be the untouchable, fluid nobody. I want you to imagine a target painted on your chest. This target is your ego. Every time someone is rude to you, they are firing an arrow. Because the target is huge, they hit it every time. You feel the sting. You feel the heat. You feel the need to fire back. Now imagine taking a brush and painting over that target. Paint it the same color as your armor. Better yet, imagine the target just dissolving. There is nothing there but empty space. Now, when they fire the arrow, what happens? It goes through the void. It falls to the ground. You look at the arrow on the floor, you look at the person who shot it, and you feel nothing. No anger, no need to explain, no need to teach them a lesson. Kill the ego. This is the ultimate form of the law of calm. It is the realization that yourself is just a construct. If you don't take it so seriously, the world can't use it against you. Think about the most successful, most powerful people you know, not the loud ones, the powerful ones. They are often the most humble. Why? Because they don't need your validation. They don't need to be the smartest person in the room, because they already know they are executing. They have neutralized the ego so they can focus 100% of their energy on the mission. You don't need their permission to be humble. You don't need the world to acknowledge your greatness for you to be great. In fact, the more you seek acknowledgement, the less greatness you actually possess. It's not about you. If you're in a meeting and someone steals your idea, the somebody in you wants to jump up and claim credit. The somebody wants to make sure everyone knows you are the genius. But the nobody stays calm. The nobody knows that the idea is out there, the mission is moving forward, and your ability to generate ideas is a well that never runs dry. You don't need the applause to know you're the source. When you stop caring who gets the credit, you become dangerous. You become a ghost in the machine. You can move mountains because you aren't worried about how you look while you're doing it. Be nobody to be free. Most of you are exhausted because you are carrying the weight of your own importance. You are constantly on stage. You are constantly editing your life for an audience that isn't paying attention. You are performing for people you don't even like. Kill the ego, drop the performance. Stop trying to be the man or the woman. Stop trying to be the alpha. Just be the observer. Just be the strategist. Just be the one who executes while everyone else is busy posing for the camera. You have a choice. You can spend your life defending a fragile image of yourself, or you can spend your life building a reality that speaks for itself. Every time you feel that sting of being offended, I want you to say the words, "It's not about me." Say it like a mantra. Someone is rude to you at the grocery store. It's not about me. They're having a bad day. A client cancels a contract. It's not about me. Their budget changed. A friend leaves you out of a plan. It's not about me. They were thoughtless. When you realize it's not about you, you stop being a victim. You stop being reactive. You regain the power to stay in the gap. The biological saboteur loves the ego. The ego is the saboteur's favorite tool. It uses your pride to make you do stupid things. It uses your vanity to make you spend money you don't have. It uses your honor to make you start fights you can't win. When you kill the ego, the saboteur loses its leverage. It can't tempt you with praise, and it can't threaten you with shame. You become a neutral force of nature. Be nobody to be free. This is the final stage of the transformation. You have killed the reaction. You have embraced the neutral world. You have shielded yourself with silence and anchored yourself with breath. You have stopped proving and built your fortress. You have detached from desire and trained in the gym of adversity. You have mastered your mourning and elevated logic over feeling. You have chosen the high road, and now you have removed the target. You are no longer a person who can be offended. You are no longer a person who can be rattled. You are a sovereign of the void. Kill the ego. But don't mistake this for being a doormat. Being nobody doesn't mean you let people walk on you. It means that when they try, they find there is no you there to hurt. Only a cold, logical response that stops them in their tracks. A nobody can be the most terrifying person on earth because they have nothing to lose. Their ego isn't on the line, so they can do whatever is necessary to win. That's the key. We have dismantled the internal enemy. We have cleared the path. Now we arrive at the summit. Now we talk about the final state of being. You have all the tools. Now you must learn how to live in them permanently. You must learn what it means to be the mountain in a world of dust. Your ego is a target that makes you fragile. Stop taking the world personally. It's not about you. By becoming nobody, you remove the hooks that others use to control you. Neutralize your pride to find absolute freedom. Lastly, let's talk about the ultimate state of the law of calm. Let's talk about what it means to remain immovable. Chapter 13. Remain immovable. This is not a destination. You've listened to these words. You've felt the shift in your perspective. You might even feel a sense of peace right now. But I am telling you, if you think you have arrived, you have already lost. The moment you believe you have mastered the law of calm is the moment the world will find a way to break you. Calmness is not a trophy you put on a shelf. It is not a certificate you hang on a wall. It is a state of perpetual maintenance. It is a daily, hourly, second-by-second commitment to the void. Most people are situational masters. They are calm when their bank account is full. They are stoic when their health is good. They are silent when they are winning. That is easy. That isn't mastery. That's just a lack of pressure. True power is revealed only when the pressure is at its maximum. True strength is staying silent when you have every reason to scream. The training never ends. That's the key. You have been looking for a finish line. You've been looking for the day when life finally stops being hard. Stop looking. There is no finish line. There is no day where the biological saboteur retires and leaves you alone. The saboteur is a part of you. It is the shadow that follows the light. Your job is not to kill the shadow once. Your job is to outshine it every single morning. Be the mountain. Think about the great mountains of the world. Think about Everest. Think about the Matterhorn. They don't move. They don't check the weather report. They don't ask for permission to exist. A storm comes. The wind howls at 100 miles per hour. The lightning strikes the peak. The snow buries the slopes. Does the mountain care? Does the mountain try to defend itself against the clouds? Does the mountain get offended by the thunder? No. The mountain just sits. It remains. It is immovable. Eventually the storm passes. The sun comes out. The climbers return. The mountain is exactly where it was before the storm started. It hasn't changed its shape. It hasn't lost its weight. It hasn't leaked its energy into a fight with the atmosphere. Stay immovable. Most of you are dust. You are the dust that the wind blows off the side of the mountain. You are light. You are reactive. You are easily scattered. But you have the potential to be the stone. You have the potential to be the bedrock. You have a choice. Every time the world throws a storm at you, a financial crisis, a personal betrayal, a health scare, you have a choice. You can be the dust or you can be the mountain. The training never ends. I want you to understand the gravity of this commitment. You have learned the 3-second rule. You have learned to kill the reaction. You have learned to neutralize the ego. But these are not tips or hacks. They are the bricks of your fortress, and a fortress that isn't maintained eventually crumbles. If you stop practicing your silence, the noise will come back. If you stop anchoring your breath, the adrenaline will take over. If you stop guarding the gate, the trash will fill your temple. You don't need their permission to be the only person in the room who isn't falling apart. You don't need the world to be fair for you to be solid. The world is designed to test you. It is a machine built to find your leaks. It will poke you until it finds a soft spot. It will whisper until it finds a vanity. It will push until it finds a fear. When it happens, and it will happen, don't be surprised. Don't be offended. Don't ask, why is this happening? Instead, look at the challenge and say, stay immovable. That's the key. A master doesn't hope for a life without storms. A master builds a soul that the storm cannot move. You've spent years being a leaf. You've spent years letting other people pull your strings. You've spent years being a slave to your own chemical reactions. How did that work out for you? Are you satisfied with the person you were? Are you proud of the version of you that screams in traffic and cries over a text message? If the answer is no, then you must accept that the old you must stay dead. You cannot visit your old self. You cannot take a break from your discipline. There are no vacations in the law of calm. The training never ends. This sounds exhausting to the average person, but you aren't an average person. Average people want comfort. You want capability. Average people want to relax. You want to remain in command. And here is the secret. Once you become the mountain, life actually becomes easier. When you stop fighting the weather, you save an incredible amount of energy. When you stop reacting to the noise, you gain an incredible amount of time. When you stop needing the world to be a certain way, you are finally free to enjoy it as it is. Stay immovable. I want you to look at the world differently from now on. When you see someone losing their temper, don't judge them. Just see them as a training video. Watch their face. Watch their physiology. See how small they look. See how much they are leaking. And then Check your own state. Are you centered? Is your breath calm? Are you staying in the gap? When you see a headline that is designed to make you angry, see it as a test. Can you read it without your heart rate changing? Can you observe the data without absorbing the poison? Be the mountain. If you can stay calm in the small things, you are preparing for the big things. Life will eventually hand you a black swan event, a moment where everything you love is on the line, a moment where most people would shatter into 1,000 pieces. In that moment, your training will save you. In that moment, the 3-second rule will be the difference between survival and destruction. In that moment, your silence will be your greatest weapon. You have a choice. You can spend your life being blown about by the world, or you can spend your life being the one who dictates the frequency of the room. Stay immovable. This is the end of the book, but it is the beginning of your life as a sovereign. You have the tools, you have the structure, you have the law. Now do the work. Don't talk about the work. Don't explain the work. Don't try to prove you're doing the work. Just exist as the result of the work. The training never ends. Every morning when you wake up, remind yourself, I am the mountain, I am the silence, I am the gap, I am immovable. And then go out and prove it to yourself, not to them. You don't need their permission. Prove it to the man or woman in the mirror. Master the calm, and you master the world. That's the key. The storm is coming. Stay in the gap, stay immovable. Calmness is a permanent practice, not a destination. To be unstoppable, you must become like the mountain, unaffected by the weather of life. Embrace the reality that the training never ends and commit to absolute immovable consistency. You have completed the law of calm. You now possess the blueprints for a mind that cannot be broken. You have learned to kill the reaction, to weaponize silence, and to neutralize the ego. But remember, wisdom without execution is just a hallucination. The world is waiting to test you. Your biology is waiting to sabotage you. Do not let this be just another audiobook you listen to. Let this be the day the old version of you died. From this moment on, you are the observer. You are the strategist. You are the mountain. If you are ready to commit to this path, subscribe to the channel and join our circle of thinkers. Leave a comment with the word immovable to signal your intent to the world. Now put down your device, step back into the world, and remember, the training never ends. Stay in the gap. The work begins now.